Hello and welcome back everyone, this is Dranon with more Warframe and more explaining of how things work, hopefully to your benefit. So in the last episode I was talking about the Liset in general, what it is about, and was talking in length about the navigation console. But there's a lot of consoles here left. So I will start with the Syndicate console over there, then we will go to the market, and then I will talk a bit about the codex, before, which will likely happen in the next episode, we go down into the orbiter and then go to the truly important consoles. Not like those here unimportant, but I guess the ones below are way more interesting, but those here are no less important and no less usable, and you will use them quite a bit as well. So let's start with the syndicates, and I will also explain what syndicates are all about. So essentially the syndicates are, well, what the name says, they are syndicates, there are 6 of them, and you can choose to align with them or not. In order to do that, you choose as syndicate.
See such potential squandered.
In this case you could also hear the Arbiters of Hexes taunt me because I'm at the lowest possible standing with them. But the reason why I clicked on them is when you have not aligned with a syndicate yet, you have this initiation button here. And when you click on that,
You are on the verge of a new truth.
what then happens is that you can choose to make a sacrifice. The initial sacrifice will be 10,000 credits, and in this case 500 nanospores. I think each of the syndicates requires another resource, so this is just a resource that you get while doing normal missions. So when I do this, what happens then? So I will just choose sacrifice because I can afford it, so I will sacrifice that, and then the game asks me if I am sure that I want to do that in order to be initiated with the Arbiters of Hexes. So I want to do that, so I click OK. So now that I have initiated myself with the Arbiters of Hexes, this button here is replaced with a next title button. So when I would click that, then I would be shown the next sacrifice in order to get the next rank. So in order to get the next rank, what I got for the initial initiation is I got a sigil from them, or an emblem, or however you want to call it, which is what you see on my chest here. That's the highest sigil that I can get for the red veil. What those do is pretty much when you wear them, and I will show you when I get to the arsenal how you actually put them on. So when you wear them, you will get standing or reputation with the syndicate as you do missions and as you gain experience. So, and then as your standing goes higher, you will be able to acquire new ranks. So what would you want to acquire new ranks for? I will show you that again with the Arbiters of Hexes. Once they are done taunting me so that you can actually see everything, you have the Offerings button here to the left. And as you can see, they have a lot of things to offer. This is just for the Arbiters of Hexes now. And the things that they offer depend on the rank that you have. So this one here, the principled rank, is the first rank that you get after neutral, so the first friendly rank pretty much. You can get a Lancer Spectre, which you can then take with you on the missions and summon if you want. And you also get new sigils that will give you extra standing. As you can see, it's plus 5% here. This is pretty much a question of which one you like the most. It's a little bit silly that they cost different amounts of standing, as you can see here on the lower left of each, on the top left of each item. That's the standing that you would have to spend in order to get this item. And then it keeps going. So after that, on the authentic rank, you can get a Void Key pack, which, as I mentioned in the previous video, would give you random Void Keys, 3 of them. One of them will be guaranteed tier 3 or 4, and the other 2 are completely random. But you'd also have 2 additional sigils to choose from, which again give you more extra standing. And then it goes on and on and on. Here you would get large team energy restore blueprints, which enable you to create an item that you can then take with you on missions to restore everyone's energy as long as they stand around the thing. Also, you can see a bit of a graphic glitch on the top right. I don't know where that's coming from, but it's just happening, I guess. And also, as you can see, more sigils, and you get a plus 11% sigil. And then, on this rank, by the way, the large energy restore is just for the Arbiters of Hexes, and I think Parent Sequence, I will check in a bit, has that. The different syndicates have different restores to offer. There's a health restore, an ammo restore, energy restore, and a shield restore. So you get access to the large ones only via the syndicates. So that's the first real reason to align with a syndicate, to get those better restores. Otherwise you only get medium ones that are nowhere near as good in the amount that they restore. So then there's more sigils, and then the first unique stuff comes in. There's mods. I will talk about mods more and in more detail when I get to the arsenal. But what those essentially do is they give a bonus to a specific weapon. For example, this one here, Gilded Truth, will increase the fire rate of only the Bursten Prime, and I think it works for the normal Bursten as well. So that's just to improve this weapon a bit more, because it's a fairly low tier weapon, so it's not as good, but this mod can help you to make it a bit better. The Blade of Truth is for the Your Sword, and the Stinging Truth is for the Viper. So this is the first thing where the syndicates are really different, because each syndicate has 3 unique weapon mods that you can only obtain via the syndicate or by trading them with other players. Then you can see more sigils here, plus 13%. Then there is more mods here that are, some of them are fairly, well, I wouldn't necessarily say important, but they are really good. Because some of those mods are so-called ability augments for your frame's abilities, and they change them a bit. For example, this one here, the Smoke Shadow, which I have, as you can see, I have one owned, because I am aligned with another syndicate that offers this one. So what it does is my smoke screen, which is one of Ash's abilities, conceals my allies as well as they are around me. Usually it would only put me into stealth mode, so basically make me invisible, but when I have the Smoke Shadow mod equipped, it makes everyone around me, as if they are my allies, that is, invisible as well. And that's available for a wide variety of frames, sorry. So for most frames by now there's 3 augments available, and there is more to be coming, possibly even multiple augments for the same ability. So this is really a good reason to align with the syndicate, or, well, at least know someone who is, or know someone, or try to find someone to trade them with. And then there's also, this is also highest rank, the Maxim. And then there's also weapons that are again syndicate specific. I was lucky enough to have my brother be aligned with Arbiters of Hexes, so I was able to get their 2 weapons. And each syndicate currently has 2 unique weapons and a unique Siandana, which is kinda a car thing. It's cosmetic only, but again, each syndicate has their own style. And also, there is a final sigil. Each syndicate has one. It gives you plus 15% reputation, and costs, well, not that much actually, but each of them has a unique sigil as well, of course. So the biggest reason to align with the syndicate is, well, one, to have something more to do. Some people like to just collect things, collect numbers, get their bars up and get their standing up, but the reason of course is those mods that will improve your weapons, that will improve and or change, for the most part improve your frames, and of course those unique weapons that you can't otherwise obtain aside from trading with other players. You cannot buy those for platinum. So yeah, that's how the syndicates work. And of course the offerings will be more expensive the higher you get. The first one, not the offerings, sorry, the sacrifices for the next title. What I have to pay here is fairly expensive. It's an Orokin reactor, which you otherwise need to improve your frame, and again I will come to talk about this when we get to the arsenal and the marketplace. But it also costs 100,000 credits, which is a fair bit, but the reason it is so expensive is because I'm at the lowest rank. This is about the same cost as it costs to get to the 4th rank, I think. Otherwise, so if you're not on a negative standing with them, the next rank won't be anywhere near as expensive as this year. This is just my "you have been a bad boy" kinda fee, if you want. So that's how syndicates generally work. So you initiate yourself with one, you get their sigil, you put the sigil on and just do your missions normally, and as you gain affinity, which is the experience in Warframe, you will also gain standing for the syndicates. And once you hit the first friendly rank with them, you also get the daily missions that you can do for extra standing. And also in order to collect sort of, well, collectible tokens that are laying around that will give you yet more extra standing. And the reason that's important is, you can see up here, it says extra standing possible replenishes daily. So yes, there is a daily cap on how much standing you can get for a syndicate. And this daily cap is determined by your mastery rank, which again is determined by how many items you have leveled, which I will talk about, I think when I come to the codex actually. Then I will talk about item leveling and mastery rank. And the maximum standing I think is 1000 plus your mastery rank in the thousands. So I'm currently mastery rank 21, which I think is the highest one possible at this point. I'm not sure if there's any 22 players yet, since it is determined by the maximum amount of items that you can have. So I could have 22,000 standing a day by just farming, and I can still get more though by doing the missions for them. What is also important to know about the syndicates is their relationship with each other. So let's look at the Arbiters of Hexes again. So Red Veil is their enemy, Parent Sequence is opposed to them, and Cephalon Suda is allied. Yeah, allied, sorry. Me English goods. So what does that mean? That means when you gain reputation with the Arbiters of Hexes sigil, you will get half of that reputation added for Cephalon Suda, you will get half of that subtracted from your standing with the Parent Sequence, and the full reputation that you gained subtracted from the Red Veil. And that goes for every time you gain standing in any way. Be it to finish the missions, to just farm affinity and get it by that, or by handing in the tokens that you collect. You will always affect the other syndicates as well. And that's also the reason why it is not possible to have all 6 of them at the highest rank at the same time, because you are bound to lower your reputation with the others. So what works fairly well, obviously, is Arbiters of Hexes together with Cephalon Suda. When you look at Steel Meridian, they are aligned with the Red Veil, they are allied with them, and their enemies are Parent Sequence and New Loka. So if I would gain standing for Steel Meridian, I would also gain standing for Red Veil, but I would reduce my standing with the Parent Sequence and New Loka. So what actually works, so that would mean, as you can see, Arbiters of Hexes and Cephalon Suda are allied, and both have one of the 3 syndicates on the right side. That's how I initially memorized it. Left side, those 3, right side, those 3. So as you can see, Arbiters of Hexes enemies are the Red Veil and Parent Sequence. So Red Veil and Parent. And Cephalon Suda enemies are New Loka and Red Veil. New Loka being here and Red Veil there. And Steel Meridian has, again, Parent Sequence and New Loka as enemies. So, those 2. That means when you level the Arbiters of Hexes, you gain standing for Cephalon Suda as well. When you level Cephalon Suda, you gain standing for the Arbiters of Hexes, but in turn you will reduce your standing for the enemy factions on the other side, for the enemy syndicates. When you level Steel Meridian, Arbiters of Hexes and Cephalon Suda will be unaffected, while Red Veil raises as well. And the same goes for the right side to the left side as well, which is why I am on a positive standing with 4 of the syndicates. When I level Red Veil, I will also increase my standing with Steel Meridian. And Parent Sequence and Niloka are unaffected. The problem is, when I level either of those two, they will reduce my standing with Steel Meridian. Which made leveling those a bit annoying, to be honest, but it worked. I just had to keep Steel Meridian up with Red Veil. So that is kinda how you level 4 syndicates at once. You can with no issue do the 3 on the right and the 3 on the left without having anything you need to watch. What is possible is that you do the 3 on the right and Steel Meridian, or the 3 on the left and Red Veil. And what you also have to keep in mind is when your standing goes below 0, you lose a rank. So when you look at the parent sequence, currently I only have 607 standing left with them, because you actually have to pay your standing or your reputation in order to unlock items with them. So if I were to lose those 607 by gaining reputation directly with Steel Meridian or the Arbiters of Hexes, then I would lose a rank, which would be fairly expensive, because getting to the highest rank costs like 500,000 credits and a rare prime part. So I would not want that at all. So that is pretty much all that is to be said about the syndicates. So you just do that and you align with the one that you like the most, or that you want the items from one of the two, whatever you like, or you don't bother with them at all if you don't mind possibly missing out on stuff. There is also an effect on your gameplay when you are on the lowest standing with a syndicate, because then they will occasionally, and I'm talking like maybe every 5th mission or so, send a kill squad for you. Which means that they just send a squad of like 5 to 10 enemies at you, which just spawns around you. They are a bit higher than everything else in the mission, but it's still something that you can deal with, and you just have to fight them back. That's pretty much all there is to it. And the enemy is always this spectre that you can get from them. For example, Cephalon Suda has Shield Osprey Spectres, which, though when they attack you, is the attack drones, because the Shield Ospreys only give shields and don't attack, but you will be attacked by drones then. When you are getting attacked by the Arbiters of Hexes, then a couple of Corrupted Lancers, which are pretty much soldiers, as much soldier as you can imagine, will come for you, and so on. So that's it for the syndicates and their standing, I guess. So yeah, as I said, leveling 1 is easy, leveling 2 is still easy if you pick the right two, leveling 3 is possible if you stick to one of the sites, and leveling 4 is possible if you watch it a little bit. But it is definitely not impossible. Doing more than that will just be incredibly painful and probably hard to do. I think I read somewhere that someone had 5, but it sounds like too much work. More work than it would be worth. So that's the Syndicate console covered. So now I will go over to the market, which for the most extent evolves around spending cash, of course, but you also get other things here for credits, which is the in-game currency, which is why I want to look at it. So there's 2 currencies in the game, actually 3, but the third one does not really matter until a bit later into the game. So there's credits, that's the one on the left here with those 3 chip-like symbols, which is a currency that you gain during missions, for doing missions, and that you always also find during missions, and that you can get, that you can also get for just selling things into the void, by essentially just selling it out of your inventory without giving it to someone in particular. You just get credits for that. And there's platinum, which is a premium currency. So what can you do with which? Platinum is mostly important, for me anyway, in order to be able to have more items at the same time, because the slots that you actually have are limited. So in order to have more Warframes available and more weapons available without selling your old ones, you need to buy more slots. And the slots cost 20 platinum for a Warframe slot and 12 platinum for 2 weapon slots. You start off with 50 platinum, so that's enough to get 1 extra Warframe slot and 4 extra weapon slots, which should be enough to start you off. Can you only buy platinum? No, you can also trade it. So if you have something another player wants, like a mod or a prime part, you can use a trade chat in order to find someone to trade with and then get platinum this way. So you can even get the more platinum without having to spend a dime, if you have the patience to do that, because as you may know, trading with other players sometimes requires quite some patience. There's also the bazaar by now, which I think I have not been there yet myself, enables you to just set up a shop and have your items sold that way. So the question is, what can you buy for your cash? Also, I think platinum is like 75 platinum for $5, which is $5. I think it's €4 something or so, so that you have a bit of an idea how much things cost. So when you look at the market, you have the featured deals on the left side, which is usually the most recent released things, and then the popular stuff on the right side, which I'd assume is the most recently bought stuff. But there is of course a lot more, so that's the featured tab of the whole thing. Let's go to the Warframe tab. So we have Warframes, Warframe accessories, Warframe animation sets, and Warframe blueprints. So when you go to Warframes, you see all the normal Warframes and also the Archwings that you can buy for platinum. And as you can see, the costs vary. And they vary dependent on not necessarily difficulty, but the starter frames that you can choose to start with are cheaper. Like Excalibur only costs 75, Loki costs 75, and Volt costs 75. And also Mag only costs 175. I'm right now actually not 100% sure which of those 4 are choosable. I think Excalibur is in there, Volt and Mag. I think the 3 starter Warframes. You can choose one of them. And I will talk more about the Warframes and their ability again when I get to the Arsenal. So you can imagine Arsenal is gonna take a little bit of time. So if you just want to get your Warframe right away and for cash, you just go here and buy it right out of the market. What you will also get when you buy that is, it says here, first off, when you click it, it tells you the base stats and the abilities of the Warframe, and it also tells you what it includes. So it includes a Warframe slot and a reactor. A reactor, I guess I can mention that real quick, since I already talked about it. Well, I didn't really talk about it, but I mentioned them when I looked at the Syndicates. So you install a reactor in your Warframe in order to pretty much double its power. So you can put more mods into them, and I will again talk more about that when I get to the Arsenal, because that's where it really gets important. So you get those included in those platinum costs. A reactor costs 20 platinum, a slot costs 20 platinum, so that's 40 platinum already. But for Ash, that will still leave 335 platinum for just the frame. And it's very much up to you if you would want to spend that. Also bear in mind, you get a login reward when you log in, and there is platinum discounts among those rewards, at least on PC. On the console versions, those are apparently not possible from all I read, but on PC there is up to a 75% platinum discount. So if you're willing to spend some cash on the game, it's maybe worth waiting for that. So that's just buying Warframes. Then there's Warframe accessories. Let's have a quick look at those. This is pretty much all cosmetic. There's an alliance emblem, which is just the emblem of your alliance, clan emblem, and then there is like Siandanas, extra skins, helmets, and all this sort of stuff. Everything you see here has no effect whatsoever on your game stats. It's purely cosmetic. And the helmets you can also get in-game because they tend to rarely, but it happens, even if rarely, they pop up on alerts so that you can get blueprints for them and just build them instead of buying them. And there's also the mastery sigil, which only costs 1 credit and which will display your current mastery rank, which is nice. It's just an extra sigil. You can wear 2 sigils, which usually means 1 syndicate sigil and 1 other sigil. So with that you can show off your mastery rank directly. And you also have the community of Tenno sigil, which is just nice. I have it on my bag. It's a nice sigil in my opinion. And then you also have the animation sets, which essentially means you can choose 1 of 3 animation styles for each Warframe. And when you buy the animation sets, what you can do is you can use a Warframe's animation for pretty much every other Warframe. So if I were to buy the Ash Noble animation, which I usually can only use for Ash, I can use it for any Warframe that I own. Which is again kinda cool. So here again a lot of customization to be had. A bit of a shame that there's no bundle, though the bundle would probably be really expensive for all those. So now we come to the point where I got all my Warframes because I did not buy a single Warframe. I have all of them except 1, but I did not buy any of them. I farmed for all of them. And in order to do that, you first need the blueprint. So as you can see here is blueprints that cost credits. And if I were to click on, let's say, on the Ember blueprint, you can see down at the bottom, after her abilities are listed and her stats are listed, you have the crafting requirements for her. So you need another 25,000 credits, that's fine, you get those just as you do missions. 1 Orokin cell, which is a rare resource, and you need her helmet, her chassis and her systems. And that's how every frame is built. For each frame, in order to build it with a blueprint, you need the helmet, you need the chassis, and you need the systems. Those, for the most part, drop from a specific boss. So there's 1 boss, in Ember's case it's the boss on Saturn, who will drop her parts. So you just do him until you have the blueprints for all 3 parts, then you build the parts, and when that's done, which by the way takes a bit of time, I will talk more about that when I get to the foundry, and when you have all of them done, then you can build the frame itself. So all that really costs is a few resources that you can acquire in-game for free and a bit of waiting time, and then you have a new Warframe. So there is not really any need to pay for them unless you are impatient or want a frame right away. So that's it for the Warframes. Then we have weapons, 3 types of them. There is primary weapons, which is pretty much rifles, bows, even rocket launchers, flamethrowers, stuff like that, so the big primary guns. Secondary weapons, which are obviously smaller, and melee weapons. It works fairly similar when I go on primary weapons. That's all the primary weapons that you can buy on the market, but that's not all the primary weapons in the game. There is 2 kinds of weapons that you... actually no, 3 kinds of weapons that you cannot buy. First would be the Syndicate Weapons. As I mentioned, you cannot buy them on the market. You cannot buy any primed weapons on the market. You have to farm for those or trade them with other players. Or when they are newly released, you can get the so-called Prime Access, which will contain the latest Prime frame together with the weapons that were released with it. And then there is also clan weapons. So this is one of the big benefits of a clan. You have research labs in the dojo, in your clan hall, where you can research weapons. And there's quite a lot of those. Let me have a quick look if I can find... There's some, like the Parasist for example, is one of the clan weapons that you can buy, but it can also be acquired via your clan. Then you can get the blueprint and then you can just build it. And there's also some weapons, as you can see most of them cost platinum, but some of them don't. For example the Strewn, which is a shotgun, costs 25,000 credits. So if you're looking for a new weapon and don't know which to get, or don't have the resources to get one or build one, just buy one of the lower tier weapons like the Strewn or the MK1 Paris if you did not pick it in the tutorial, which you can do, I'm fairly sure, as well as the MK1 Strewn. Or is there anywhere? The Breton, the normal one, can be bought for platinum as well. Again, not the worst thing to do. At least if you are not quite sure which weapon to get and have a bit of credits, a few credits laying around. And with the other weapons it's pretty much the same. Then there's also the skins, which again, purely cosmetic, different camo skins and stuff for the weapons. It's a nice customization feature. And then again, same thing as with the other stuff, blueprints. For the weapons, works the same way as with the Warframe, and at this point I would also like to point out a few weapons that I personally think are great. I'm not 100% sure on the mastery requirements of all of them, because you actually need mastery rank to use some of the weapons, but the Carrack, for example, is a mastery rank 0 weapon, and it's really good. That's all there is to say about it, really. It's an assault rifle, it looks like your standard assault rifle mostly, and it's just great. In my opinion, it's a great weapon. So if you like assault rifles and are looking for one, get the Carrack. Seriously, get the blueprint, farm for the resources, and then build it. It's a really, really good gun, and you can use it from the start. All you need is the resources and the credits in order to get the blueprints and build the weapon. And also good weapons are the Boltor, which I think is mastery rank 2, and the Paris, which I think is mastery rank 1. And then, of course, it really depends on what you like. I'm trying to think if there is a type of weapon that's missing. There's assault rifle, the Bursten is a burst-based, a burst fire assault rifle, the Thurnos is another bow. The Dragoon is fairly similar to the Unreal Tournament flag cannon, if you know that, so it's sorta shotgun stylish. Then the Hack is a 4-barrel shotgun, yes, 4-barrel shotgun, which you can't see here quite. But yeah, it's a shotgun with 4 barrels, what more do you want? The Comb is another shotgun, the Electron is a semi-automatic rifle, which is fairly good. Does decent damage, but only single shot of course. And yeah, the Panther is a grenade launcher. It's hard to find a kind of weapon that does not exist. There's even beam weapons that are clan tech only though, but those are there as well. What you notice are those little wing symbols here. I talked about those shortly on the navigation. Those are Arcwing symbols, so those three here, the Corvus, the Dual Decurion and the Phaedra, are Arcwing weapons. Arcwing will be unlocked at Mastery rank 2 for you, I think, when you do the quest connected to it. So those weapons can be only used in the Arcwing mode. And yeah, you have a similar thing for secondaries and melee, and since I mentioned a few, in my opinion, good starter weapons for the primaries, I want to do the same thing for the secondaries as well. The best one, hands down, really, get the kunai. Nothing more to say. The kunai are great. They are throwing knives and they do decent damage. They are not the best secondary you can get, but they are certainly decent. That aside, I rather enjoyed my time with the Eklex, which are basically normal dual pistols, but they do a decent amount of damage and should be low rank as well. And everything else, just try it, really. Try a couple of them and see what happens. That's all I can really say. And then there's also some weapons that require you to build another weapon first. Let me see if I can find one of them somewhere here. Like the Akjagara, for example. Rather cool pistols, look cool, but in order to build them you need the Ekbolto and the dual scanner. The Ekbolto being another secondary and dual scanner being dual swords for the primary slot. And the Ekbolto you can see here, for which you need 2 boltos, so yeah. You can see there's a bit of chaining going on, but it is nothing that's unachievable if you want to just build it without having to spend any real money.
There's a time-limited mission alert available. Check
So
navigation.
again, as I said, secondaries, kunai, in my opinion a good choice, and then just go from there. For melee weapons, it's kinda hard to say, because I have to admit I have no clue anymore what the mastery ranks on those are. Let me have a look. Which is a good one? The bow is kind of fun if you like to fight with a staff. The Dragon Nikana is great, but also requires a weapon that's clan tech only and requires mastery rank 8, unless that has been changed, and is also the highest mastery rank weapon available. But it's a great melee weapon in my opinion. And as you can see, there's again so much stuff. The Atarax is a bladed whip, pretty much. Then recently added the Destrazer, which is a rapier, and there is dual cleavers, dual swords, or more a sword dagger combo, dual kamas, and all this fun stuff. There's so much stuff that you can get. Oh, aside from the blueprint choices, also let me have a look. You can buy the Eclato right off the bat for secondaries for 25,000 credits. It's a decent weapon. Not the best, but decent, and will definitely be good enough for the start. And you can also buy the normal Lato and the Lex and the Sicarus, so there's a couple weapons that you can just buy without having to build them. Melee weapons, let's see what you can buy here right away. I don't see much of those. You can buy the MK1 weapons, of course, the bow and the Furex, which again you can choose in the first quest in the tutorial. And the Skana for some reason is only available for Platinum here, but I think you can choose it in the tutorial as well, because it was a default starting weapon before they gave you actually a choice. Again, not a very bad weapon, it's okay. And it should also, I hope, have, yeah, here's a blueprint for it. So that's it for the weapons. Lots of choices, as you have seen, and there's way more. You will see how many weapons there are when we go to the arsenals, and you will then see how many weapons I have available to choose from. So the equipment tab now, which will be the next one, contains various things. So let me start on the right side, because that's kind of the least important. Well, it's not really the least important, but the least game affecting stuff. First, color palettes. Those are all the color palettes that you can get. When you buy them, you have them unlocked forever. And then you can just use them on your Warframes and weapons. I have all of them because I like variety, and also they are available in bundles, which is something to be kept in mind. There's also occasionally some holiday color palettes, like there is a St. Patrick's Day one, there is a Valentine's one, and there's also an Independence Day one that you can just buy for, I think, 1 credit, and then you just have a couple different colors to use, which is great if you don't want to spend platinum on it. Moving on to gear. Here you have some things that are actually usable in the game. Ciphers are used for hacks in game, which you use to reset security. Codex scanner, which is, at least to me, fairly important, and will be fairly important to everyone who likes to have complete sets of icons and full bars and stars everywhere, and I will show you what that is about when we get to the codex. Essentially, you gather intelligence with that. You can scan an enemy, and when you have scanned enough of the same enemy types, then you will have full data about them, including their health, their shields, their armor, what they are vulnerable to, what they are resistant to, and what they can drop, which is some of the most important information, and then you have it right in the game. You can check it on the wiki, but then you have it in the game. Always nice, in my opinion, anyway. The Fomorian Disruptor blueprint, that's an Arcwing thing, so no need to worry about that right away. There is Fireworks, because why not? Health Restore, which kinda got replaced by the Team Health Restore, really. I'm actually not sure what a Remote Observer is and or does. Oh, it deploys a short-lived remote camera that overrides your Warframe optics, so you can kinda look around corners. That's new. That's a new one, I have not used it yet. Kinda nice, cost 10 credits, that's fine. The Codex scanners cost 500 credits for 30, I think, so not overly expensive either, but you use them up as well. Then there's more Fireworks, and then we have the Team Restores. As I said, you get the normal ones here. That's a single one, and this one here, which is way more expensive, but it won't be used up, so once you get it, you have it, and it will make 10 of them, I think, yes. And as I said, you will keep it. The blueprint is reusable and will not be consumed. Whereas those small ones are reusable as well, actually. I thought it wouldn't be. So yeah, fairly expensive, but save you a lot of time. So that's it for the gear. Then there's mods and cores, so you can buy mod packs which are random. Then you will just get a bunch of mods. If you are looking for... Well, it's kinda like getting boosters for a trading card game, so you really don't know what you're getting, and there are so many mods. I guess you can do that, don't have to. It is up to everyone themselves if they want to spend their money on that, and so you can also get fusion cores, which is, I don't even know how many. 3 fusion cores, okay, I see. Well, that's not too bad, I guess, but you get a lot of those in mission as well. So that's the right section done. The next one, the middle section, actually no, I forgot the landing craft. So I mentioned in the first video that there are other landing crafts than just the Liset. And as you can see here, there's a Mantis, and down here is a Scimitar. You can buy those right away for Platinum, and there's a normal Mantis, the other ones are just skins, or you get the blueprint. If you have the blueprint, you still need to find the parts, which are really rare. Like, really, really rare. I have one part for the Mantis and that's it. Actually, I have no part for the Mantis, because I only have a part for the Scimitar. Because you find those in really rare containers, which are also, for the most part, only in the raids, which are fairly high level 8-player missions. So, yeah. Those, however, are not purely cosmetic. And also you can see there's a lot of noggles that you can get and just put into your ship to look at it, which is nice. And there's also the landing craft foundry segment, which you need in order to be able to craft either new landing crafts or the air supports, which are connected to that, and which is what I just wanted to get to. Because there's more than cosmetics to that. The different ships have different abilities. So you can build a specific piece of gear which is called air support. And depending on your active ship, what the air support does is different. The Liset, for example, automatically hacks the security if the alarm went off. I am actually not sure what the others do. By the way, you can also rotate them. Kinda neat models. Kinda nice. Nice detail there. I am really not sure what they actually do. Well, the Scimitar, for example, says it's armed with carpet bomb air support, so I'd assume it would do some kind of airstrike. But yeah, so the landing craft you use determines what your air support will do. So not just a cosmetic choice. It's not a game changer, but I guess it's something that's worth keeping in mind. So in the middle here we have Sentinels, Kubros, Sentinel blueprints, and Sentinel accessories. Sentinels and Kubros, as I mentioned in the first video when I went through the Liset, are your companions. You can only have one of them with you. And there is various kinds of them. There's one missing here because it is a clan tech Sentinel and there is the primed worm missing, which you can only get in the void. Sentinels very much depend on what you want, which one you take. The Shade is able to make you invisible when enemies are nearby. The Worm has great crowd control. Helios scans. Diriga pretty much is a sniper sentinel. Death Cube just shoots things to bit and has a death laser, which is kinda awesome. And Carrier is pretty much what everyone uses, because it's kinda like having a vacuum cleaner with you that sucks in all the stuff that's laying around you, so you don't have to directly run over it. So if you want to have my suggestion for a Sentinel, get the Carrier blueprint. As you can see, they are fairly expensive with 100,000 credits, but they are well worth it. So Carrier is a good way to go. So if you get the Carrier blueprint, then you have to gather those materials: 1000 alloy plates, 400 circuits, 1500 nanospores and 3 control modules, as well as 15,000 credits to build it. It's a good start. And has a decent weapon as well. It's the different Sentinels are armed with different weapons. The Carrier has a shotgun, which is, in my opinion, the best Sentinel ranged weapon there is. Worm has a laser rifle, I think. Shade has a laser pistol, so it's not really meant for combat. Diriga has a sniper rifle. Death Cube has an autocannon. And the one that Clantech has sort of a poison rifle, which is cool, sorta. But again, the shotgun is the best weapon in my opinion. So, Sentinel accessories, same as with Warframes, cosmetics only. You can get various things that you can attach to your Sentinels, if you so desire. And then there's the Kubros. There is some things that you need here and some things that you don't. The gene masking kits are pretty much skins for them. Armor does not have any in-game effect, it's only cosmetic as well. And then there is the important things, pretty much the genetic code templates, the DNR stabilizers and the Kubro eggs, as well as the incubator power core blueprints. You will kinda be guided through those as you do the Kubro quest, which, by the way, unless it has been changed, starts with the Venus boss. As soon as you defeated that one, you can start it. And the one thing that you definitely need is an incubator power core, so you can get the blueprint and then build the power core itself. In order to you need that in order to breed an egg. You need the DNA stabilizers to keep your Kubro all good and healthy, because they actually drop their health over time, and when it drops below 0 they die. The scale goes from plus 100 to minus 100%, so if it reaches minus 100% it is dead, and you can prevent that by putting it into stasis. For example, when you don't play for a longer period of time, that's always a good idea, because then that won't happen. Then it just all freezes. Other than that, you have to give them one stabilizer every 4 days, I think. I think normally it's every 2 days. No, normally it's every 4, sorry, but if you have an upgrade for the segment, then it is halved, so that you need less of them. And if you have the upgrade, they will also be automatically put in stasis if they would die, which I did not try yet, because I don't trust automatic systems. Sorry devs, not your fault. The upgrade I'm talking about is the incubator upgrade segment here. You can buy it for platinum or get via a clan. That's the only ways to get it. And as you can see, the stasis recovery is reduced. Stasis recovery can be rushed with credits, otherwise you have to wait until it ticks down to 0. The normal one takes 3 hours, I think, or costs you 10 platinum. When you have this upgrade, it takes 30 minutes or costs 10,000 credits, which is great. Here we have the point: Kubros are placed into stasis if they become mortally ill, which is great. Egg incubation reduced by a day, and stabilizers last twice as long. So egg incubation usually requires 2 days until the Kubro hatches. With this thing it only takes 1. And then there's the genetic code template. You need the templates in order to make copies of your Kubro, which you can trade. There are certain rare Kubro breeds or more markings that people want, especially a golden lotus, which is worth quite a lot, and so people trade that away. And it's also nice if you have a breed of Kubro that your friends are still missing. I tend to just hand them 2 templates so that they can get one of the same then. You can make 2 templates of every Kubro. And this way you can help them get the ones they are missing. So that's pretty much this part done, and then we have the ones on the left missing. Let's start with boosters. It's a free-to-play game, so yes, you can buy boosters with platinum, with cash, pretty much. One that boosts your affinity, the experience that you get, your credits, the resources, and the resource drop chance. Pretty standard, saves you time, nothing more than convenience, not a game changer. You can buy components, including those lenses, which again I will not talk about. Do the second dream quest if you want to know what those are about. And you can also directly buy resources, which I personally never did. Never ever.
A new alert has begun.
Because why would I?
Marked
Excellence
on
adapters, it takes a bit until you get those. They unlock an extra slot for your Warframe, and I will talk about those yet again when I get to the arsenal. Same goes with formers. And everything else that you can get here, except from those antitoxin things, is used for crafting. There is rare and common resources. I think the best way to go about this is when I get to the foundry. Then I will tell you which ones are rare and which one are common. And then you can buy keys and drones. Drones are the extractors that give you extra resources, and the keys are used for the raids for ones, that are those with a little twirly symbol circly thingy here. The Law of Retribution and the Jordan's Verdict are 8-player raids, but there's also quests here. The quests that you can buy here are hidden messages, which you need to order in order to acquire the Mirage Frame, the Limbo Theorem, which maybe you can guess it, you get Limbo here, and Patient Zero. Patient Zero, if I recall correctly, needs to be completed in order to be able to farm for Mesa. But you can get Mesa without doing the quests, since you just need to kill the boss. For Limbo and Mirage you need to do the quests because you get the parts as you do the missions. So that is that. Actually, I think Patient Zero was Chroma, but I'm not sure anymore. It has been so long since I did those that I forgot. And I mentioned those earlier. There's also the blueprints to build derelict keys. Which, why do I not have a mobile defense blueprint? Those are new. I have not done those yet. And as you can see, I'm just gonna show them here real quick. They require some resources and nav coordinates, which you only need for the derelict keys. And you find quite a lot of those, more than you can use really. So don't hold back on building derelict keys when you have them. And then you can also see up here the 4 special keys: the Bleeding Dragon Key, Decaying Dragon Key, Extinguished Dragon Key, and Hobbled Dragon Key. Those are used and needed in order to open specific vaults in the derelict, which contain rare mods, so-called corrupted mods that improve one stat of your frame but decrease another. The problem with those is, first, you don't know which vault you will have. There is a vault guaranteed, but it's one of the 4. You can always only carry 1 key, and the key has a negative effect. For example, the Decaying Dragon Key, shields are greatly reduced while your key is equipped, which means you only have 25% of your normal shield. 1 decreases your health to 25%, 1 your movement speed, and 1 your overall damage. So the best way to do this is find a full squad, which is 4 players. Each one takes 1 key, and then you do a derelict mission so that you are guaranteed to be able to open the vault. And then you can all be happy about the stuff that you found. And I think for the Mesa quest you actually need to open a couple vaults as well. I think it was Mesa. Mirage, sorry. But again, it has been so long that I am actually not 100% sure about that. So then we have the bundles left, which is what it sounds like. There's bundles. Like here you have color pack alpha and beta, which is a couple of the color palettes together, and then various other things like a whole set of desert tactics, camo, skins for weapons. The gunslinger bundle would contain Mesa as long as one of her helmets and a stance, which I again will talk about in the arsenal, and weapons and all this stuff. So this is where you get all the bundles. When something new is released that you like, some cosmetics, it's always worth checking here if it is coming in a bundle. For example, where is it? There was like Sentinels bundle somewhere, but I can't find it. Oh, let's just look at this one here. The Echo Siandana pack contains 4 Siandanas in kinda cloak form at a price point of 300 platinum. If you would buy them separately, you would spend more than that. So sometimes it is worth looking at the bundles. Then you have the Prime Access and Get Platinum, which will open external websites, which is why I will not click those at the moment. So look at them yourself. They are, if you're on PC, they directly connect to Steam, so you can get Platinum via your Steam wallet, I think. And that is pretty much the market covered. So with all the things that you can get, I will talk some more about weapons when I get to the foundry and the arsenal. But I hope this gives you a bit of an overview over what the market is for and what you can get here. So the important things that you get in the market again are the blueprints for new Warframes, blueprints for new weapons if they are not clan exclusive, as well as some keys that you can only get here, and blueprints for Sentinels, as well as a few extra things for your crew bros and some gear. That's pretty much the game. That's pretty much the things that affect your game and your gameplay, but those things also do not cost platinum. Again, the only thing I ever spent my platinum on are slots and cosmetics. And I have a lot of cosmetics because I had a lot of platinum. And I don't regret any platinum spent on this game. So this was it for the market. I hope you were able to learn something from that, and in the next video I will look at the codex, and then we finally go down into the belly of our orbiter to have a look at what awaits us there and what we can do there. So I hope this was helpful for you. Again, as with the last video, feel free to leave me a comment. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. If you dislike it, well, give me a thumbs down, I guess. If you don't want to miss the other videos that will come sooner or later, don't forget to subscribe, and I hope to see you again next time. This was me, Dranon with Warframe. Bye!